I finally got serious about wanting to change my life a few years ago, so I did my research. I found the ultimate side hustle by watching hundreds of hours of YouTube videos and picking the one that was right for me. And after working just 4 hours a week for 2 months, I'm now a multimillionaire. Yeah, right? If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you too. Here's the truth. Watching videos about side hustles is just taking you down the rabbit hole. You'll find yourself clicking on one video after another in hopes of finding a good way to make money, but after hours of wandering about, you'll end up lost, overwhelmed, and confused. I'm here to tell you that for someone who actually really wants to change their life for the better, side hustles are not the way to go. Side hustles are a distraction, an attempt at a quick fix, a little bit of easy money. But your time and energy is limited. By filling up any free time you have with extra work of some kind that just pays a small amount, you stay on a hamster wheel, always running, just trying to keep up. I propose that you do something different. Instead of aiming low, aim high. Follow the 4 steps that we will discuss in this video to use your free time to build a business that can change your life instead of pursuing a side gig that will just be a small supplement to your main job that keeps you on the hamster wheel. After earning an MBA at Cornell University, I spent my career building venture capital and private equity-backed companies. I've served as the chief financial officer of several software businesses where I worked closely with sales, marketing, and operations to grow the company. I tell you this so you know that what I'm sharing today comes from experience. So here's the secret to starting a successful business. Actually, it's not really a secret at all, but it gets drowned out amidst all the noise and distractions on YouTube from countless how to make money videos. The truth is, finding success in business comes down to this one simple formula. Write it down and always keep it in mind. You need to 1. Identify a problem. 2. Solve the problem. 3. Get paid. 4. Refine and repeat. Let's walk through this in a little more detail with some great examples of how regular people built thriving businesses by following this formula. The formula starts with number 1 being identify a problem, but actually there's a vital step before number 1, and that is to tell yourself, get started already. Stop talking about wanting to start a business. Stop endlessly watching videos, scrolling for ideas. Stop coming up with reasons why you can't start yet, why now is not a good time, why I'll start just as soon as something, whatever I'm waiting for, to get out of the way. Just get started. Procrastination is a success killer. Procrastination is negative momentum, and what you need is positive momentum. Once you start moving, it's so much easier to keep moving. So start moving. Get started. Good. Now that you're moving, here's what you're going to do. First, identify a problem. The world is full of problems. You come across problems in your daily life. The key is to note them, write them down, literally sit down and make a list. Don't just wait for inspiration to serve up the perfect business idea and a dream, because that may never happen. Think of the problems you've come across in your life. Think of things in your hobbies or your work that were hard to do or hard to figure out. Then think about what a solution to those problems might be. If you can solve these problems, you have a potential business. Every business involves someone getting paid to solve a problem. For example, entertainment businesses can be thought of as solving any number of problems or needs, such as boredom, loneliness, distraction, inspiration, providing an escape or relaxation, etc. A health or wellness business, like a doctor, a health author, or a fitness YouTuber, helps solve all sorts of problems or needs with information and inspiration and support to help people improve their health. A tax accountant solves the problems of tax preparation being complicated, scary, or time-consuming for many people. So think back. What problems have you encountered that you solved or could solve? What things have you learned how to do that could form the basis for a product? A woman who I used to work with in New York City was from China. She was interested in traditional Chinese tea, but even though we lived in New York City with its thriving Chinatown, she wasn't satisfied with the tea choices available. She decided to solve this problem and started an online tea business called Tea Drunk, where she sells premium teas imported from China, promotes and celebrates traditional Chinese tea culture, and offers free and paid classes about tea for the connoisseur. She's created a thriving business around tea. A business does not have to be complicated to do well. Whatever problems and solutions you come up with, try to estimate how big the potential market opportunity is. Try to answer the questions: how many people or businesses have this problem, and how much might they pay for a solution? When asking these questions, you are following the lead of some of the best investors in startup companies, the venture capital investors. They always want to know, what problem do you solve, and how big is the market opportunity? If you borrow this approach, it can help you choose which of several different business ideas might be most attractive to pursue. To give you further ideas of problems you might find, and to illustrate that it can be simple things, here are some problems I've come across recently in my life. My wife wanted to raise chickens. We live in a country environment that gets really cold in the winter. We knew nothing about raising chickens or about how to keep them safe in the cold. So, to answer the countless questions we had about how to do it, we scoured the internet and YouTube looking for advice. I would have gladly paid for a course on raising chickens or a support resource of some kind. It would have saved us so much time. Same thing with bees. She wanted to raise honeybees, but again, there was not a good resource available, or at least not that we found. We would have gladly paid for a course or help. More food for thought. If you work in a business, what doesn't work well there? What slows things down or causes problems? Or something that could be done a lot better, faster, or cheaper? Can you solve any of them? Is this a problem that other companies have too? Solving these problems are all potential businesses. Speaking of problems, I'm having a small problem right now. I can't quite reach the like button on your screen. Could you do me a favor and just push the like button if you're enjoying the video? I don't really understand it, but I heard a rumor that this somehow tells Google that this is a good video to share. I don't know. And if you want more of this kind of content from me, go ahead and subscribe too. Thanks very much. Back to our list. Number 2, once you've identified some problems that you could solve that you believe have a big enough market opportunity to be worth your while, think about how you could solve them for someone. Is it something that you would teach other people how to do themselves, or a service that you would do for them, or something that you would make and sell? Decide how you will solve the problem. Okay, now listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. This is a very important point. You should not spend a ton of time trying to design the perfect solution. You can't, because you don't know yet the extent of the customer's problem or what the perfect product is. You have an idea, but you haven't tested it yet in the market. So put together what you think is the minimum viable product, known as the MVP, the smallest and or simplest product needed to solve the problem as you envision it and to get sales. This is what you bring to market. Sell them this product first and then listen to your customers to get feedback. With the feedback, you can evolve the product and make it better. This method is explained brilliantly in a book called The Lean Startup, which I'll link to in the description under the video. I highly recommend this book for all entrepreneurs and anyone thinking of starting a business. It will literally make you smarter by showing you how to think about building and evolving a product to fit your market. Kelly and Daniel are health and fitness buffs. They enjoyed everything about eating right and a good exercise routine, but when they looked for videos on YouTube on these topics, they found it lacking. So they started a YouTube channel to fill the gap. Their videos were not fancy, just basic. The videos showed Kelly and Daniel working out together and coaching the viewers through the routine so viewers could work out with them. A classic MVP. Well, guess what? People loved them. Their channel and business, named Fitness Blender, has been wildly successful with 6.7 million subscribers on YouTube with loads of free videos, plus a website where you can buy premium content and tools. Start with the MVP and evolve it if and when necessary. 3. You need to get paid for providing the solution. Estimate how much it will cost you to do or to make, include all of your time and costs. Then decide how much you will charge for the solution. You can set your price by doing market research to see how much other people charge for similar services, or set the price equal to your cost plus a markup for profit. To be profitable, obviously, your selling price needs to be higher than your cost. Be mindful, though, that depending on what you're selling, It might be difficult to determine the right price because it's not clear yet how valuable your product is to the market or what your costs will be. At this stage, particularly before you launch a service-based product, there simply may be too many unknowns. You may not know for sure how much it will cost you to provide the product or solution because you may not know how much time it will take you to do the work involved. You also won't know if the product is right for the market or if it needs a lot of changes, which could change your costs, and you don't know yet how much value it provides to your customers. So at this point, I just aim to set a price that covers all my estimated costs, including a reasonable wage for my time, making sure to protect myself should costs be higher than expected, and just try to make some sales. The product and pricing can be refined later. The purpose of the early stages of all this are to test the product and learn. John Lee Dumas used to drive to work listening to podcasts, but he got frustrated that the ones he liked only came out with maybe one episode per week. He really wished they were available more often. Then John realized that he could create the solution himself that he wished was available. So John launched his podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire, publishing one new episode every day. John's focus initially was not revenue, it was on building a good product. Granted, his costs consisted mostly of his own time, but still he was basically working for free initially to get the product up and running and in the hands of customers, his listeners. Well, John's podcast was a big hit, with now over 100 million listens to his episodes. Before long, he noticed that some of his listeners were asking him lots of questions about the steps involved in making a podcast. This is where he refined his product offering because his customers were telling him they wanted something more. In response, he created an in-depth online resource to teach people all the steps involved in launching a podcast. This podcasting course was also a huge success. John has now run these businesses for over a decade and made many, many millions of dollars from them. This brings us to step 4, refine and repeat. This is where you work on the stuff that can make you rich. You've identified a product idea to solve a problem for someone. You've built a minimum viable product and got it into the hands of initial customers. Up until now, production of the product may be pretty manual and inefficient. As you work with initial customers or get feedback from them if they bought a finished product, learn from them and make the product better. Then you'll sell and deliver the better product. Over time, you keep learning, keep selling, and keep making it better. Also, start thinking about how to scale up your production, about how you can make it faster and easier to produce, and maybe even less expensive to make. You'll also learn better what the value proposition is to your customer, which will help you in your sales and marketing and in setting a better price. This stage is where you start to make your business into a factory where you produce more, better, cheaper. It's in the scaling of your business where you start to leverage things, other people, processes, software, and machinery, depending on the nature of your business, which can help it to become wonderfully profitable. Once again, the steps are identify a problem, solve the problem, get paid, refine, and repeat. There are countless examples of regular people building great businesses. They're no better than you are, no smarter, no luckier. They just found a problem, identified a solution, and took action. If you really want to change your life, don't waste time on side hustles. Work on identifying a problem and then create the solution. So get started now. I'll see you in the next one.